Hi everyone, welcome. I am so excited. Today we're going to be playing with the new Dede Signature Chrome 3. This is what the outer packaging looks like. So pretty. This is actually my first from them as in terms of chrome shades. So here is what our layout looks like. It's an all shimmer palette with 3 matte shades, which I actually really do like, and in today's look that is what I did incorporate along with some of the shimmers. Things I really love too about this palette is that there are split pans in multiple of the shades, which I will be showing you swatches in just a second. But it is something that I really love that they did, especially with this palette, because is it a bit more on the expensive side. I believe last time I checked it's on sale, I think for like $65, but it will retail for $80, I believe, in the future. So though it is very kind of pricey and up there, I really do like that you have that versatility or getting like those split pans, so you get basically additional shades, which I absolutely love. So what I'm thinking we will go ahead and do is, in terms of swatches, I'm thinking I'll kind of just do each row so a matte with the shimmer so that we can actually see what they look like, and I will be doing that right now. Okay, so I actually had enough room to do rows 1 and 2, so bottom is going to be row 1. I feel like some of the shinier shades or like more sheared out shades are struggling to show up, but hopefully you can see. And we also have our second row, I guess, on the top. This is while these shades, I feel like they might be showing me more their duochrome-ness, because I don't have like my screen lock, so hopefully you should be able to see. I feel like when I kind of turn my hand, you can see them a bit more, but I will say a lot of the really sparkly shades that are up here are not really showing up that much on camera, which is kind of a bummer. I do have those in my eyes, and like I said, or I did not say, but in the tutorials, I will be showing you how to use, or how I would use all of these shades. Okay, let me go ahead and do our last row. And then here is our last row. I think these are showing up a little bit better, hopefully. Really pretty. And then I did forgot to say, so I did not use the glitter primer that does come along with this palette, or at least I purchased with the palette. I just used a little bit of foundation. That's honestly what I kind of always have on my eyes anyway, so I kind of wanted to make it fair. For our first look, I really want to utilize the mattes in here. I actually really kind of love them as a kind of fall lover in a way. These colors are definitely giving me fall, so I really wanted to use all 3 of them. I'm just going to start off with an angled brush. I'm going to go ahead and dip in with Imperial Death, and I'm kind of just going to do this pretty similar to how I do most of my eyeshadow looks, except the biggest thing is that I'm only going to focus this on the outer corner of my eye, because I really want the shimmers to be like the main impressive part of this look. Dipping in with like this longish pencil brush, I'm just going to do the same shade on the top. And then if you are curious what I consider my outer corner of my eye is, I just kind of take where my color part of my eye stops, and the rest of that is the outer colored part, or like the outer corner. Next up, I'm going to dip in with Bronze Testament, and I'm taking that same pencil brush, I just wiped it off, and I'm just going to run this underneath. And then what I'm going to do to help like this like not be a dramatic stop is I always will just take the color just a little bit past that deeper color, so that it makes it a lot easier to blend out. I love these tones, seriously, so much. And then completing the shape just around the crease, or like around this outer edge. And then lastly, I'm going in with Royal Accord and just this slightly fluffy brush. And while I am going to be applying this shade, this is also just going to be our main shade that we'll be using to blend everything out. And then I realized I totally forgot to say, I a second ago just went in with the deeper shade just to re-intensify and make everything stand out. So far though, using these mattes, these are what I have really come to love. I mean, obviously I'll feel different with the shimmers in a second, but something I have really come to love is I feel like they just have such a really nice formula. I just really appreciate them and their shadows. Like, I mean, this is just so good. And the next up, to start going with the shimmers, I did go ahead and purchase, they had like a bundle, also I got their, they have like a glitter primer. They're calling it Lock In Glow. And I usually just use a brush. I've seen people use their finger. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply this all over the lid. I will say I have already played with these shades a little bit. And at least in my opinion, I don't feel like you do need a glitter primer. But sometimes they are nice just to help lock things in. They will also sometimes help shimmer shades to stand out. That is all blended out. I'm just going to go ahead and check. Yep, we're feeling nice and tacky. One of my preferred ways that I have loved so far with this palette, or I feel like with shimmers just in general, is to go in with a finger. I do get that some people do want to use a brush. We'll go ahead and probably do both just to kind of show you. I know, again, if you wear nails and stuff, it makes it more difficult. One of my favorite shades here, which is called Midnight Authority. I'm going to go ahead and start off with first. I never know how these shades are reading on my camera. I just love this shade. So I'm actually going to use the same brush that we used to pick up the glitter primer. And it is picking up, I don't know if you can see, but it is picking up relatively well in the brush. So let's just see. And I'm just going to apply that right alongside. And to be completely honest, I mean, that's actually picking up really well with the brush. I know certain shimmer shades, I feel like if they're a bit more flaky, can struggle to pick up. This one is having zero issue at all. And I really, really do appreciate that there are two really deep, yet still like super sparkly shades in here. Like, as a makeup lover, it really just inspires me that I'm like, I could do smoky eyes, but I also have something to put like in the outer corner to help soften that transition from like a bold, you know, like a matte to a softer shimmer. So one of the shades, I'm not 100% sure what I'm thinking of going with, is either going to be Infernal Rain. I'm thinking I might skip this one. This is one of like the slip pans. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with this top one. Now, I will say, just in forms of, because I am reviewing this, the split pan of the darker shade is a bit more just metallic. It's not super sparkly. I'm just also taking that with a brush. I would honestly say I feel like for the split pan shades, probably using a brush is just going to be the easiest. And this one as well does pick up really nicely. I'm not sure though, if I get close, if you'll be able to see that this outer corner just has a bit more sparkle, whereas while this is shiny, it's just definitely more like, I would say, a more metallic formula. And then next I'm gonna dip in with Liquid Heirloom. Whoa, it's hard to see. I feel like there's some pink in this shade for sure, but it does kind of feel like the natural shade to go after this, like, looks to me like a deeper bronzy copper shade. I'm just gonna apply that. You could honestly apply this all the way into the inner corner. It's just I want to use the other half of that split shade because it definitely is a bit lighter and I like that. So dipping back in with this little split pan, that lighter shade. One thing I'm enjoying too about some of these lighter shades is they are a bit more, I don't know how you would say it, but it's the base is, it feels to me to be a bit more translucent. I don't even know if that's showing up. And what I really love about that is that you'll get the color, but it works a lot more for other people, which I think is amazing, and definitely not surprised by Dede's signature. And then I usually will go in with just a clean, fluffy brush, just to make sure that everything is kind of smoothed out. I don't personally like that kind of abrupt shimmer stoppage. Alright, here is the finished result. I just applied a little liner mascara, and honestly, I really, really love this. It's giving like smoky, but it's giving me the fall vibes that I am like loving so much. Let's go ahead and move on into our next look. So for look 2, I'm guessing you can kind of see that I really wanted to play with these like more bluey grainy tones. I did pull out the Drops of Fantasy palette, so super excited to use that. So let's go ahead and just get on started. I am going to go ahead and just apply my lock-in base just to make sure that we have the shadows super vibrant. So for the first shade, I'm going to dip in with Mirage, and I'm going to start with this kind of flat shader brush, and I'm just going to start running this along the lower lash line. I'm going to do this pretty simple to how I usually do most of my makeup looks, so just applying it until that outer corner, or like the colored part of my eye, and then I'm just going to wing it out. Going in with a longer fluffy brush, I'm just going to use that to fill in the rest of the shape. Next, I'm going to dip in with the shade Beads. I'm going to start off with that same flat shader brush, and I'm just applying this where the colored part of my eye is on the lower lash line. And then I'm going to switch over to a pencil brush to start to blend out this underneath area. And I'm just going to take that same shade throughout our crease, just to where that colored part of the eye is. And I'm just going to take that same color just around the shape to help everything to blend out together. For our last of the matte, I'm going to take the shade Excitement, and I'm just going to be using the same brush to apply this to the inner corner, slightly overlapping that like blue shade with the green so that they start to blend in well together. And then I'm going to take that same pencil brush and just tapping that green shade along, and then I'll kind of go back in and smudge it in so that it blends out with all the colors. And then taking that same brush, I'm just going to pop this shade into the inner corner of the eye. I know this is like unrelated to the video, but holy owzer, I'm loving this palette. The bright colors are so freaking pretty. I'm so happy that I did decide to finally pick this palette up. Alright, now for shimmers, I'm going to go ahead and take our Lock-In Glow Primer. Just apply that to the eyelid. For our lovely shimmer shades, I'm actually just using part of the slip pan. So I'm going to be using Emerald Command. Well, you can't even see it. There you go. That darker shade. And then I'm actually going to be using a brush to pick these up. I do believe I mentioned it earlier, but I've really found using a brush with the slip pans to be helpful. You can definitely still get a finger in there, but it just really helps to keep the colors more separate. And then, so freaking beautiful. Wiping off the brush, I'm going to go in with Aqua Dominion, the shade here. Same thing, just with the brush. And I'm just going to place that shade right next to the green, slightly overlapping so that they blend. You can always as well kind of just go in with your finger to tap to make sure that they blend a bit better. And then lastly, I'm going to take Verdant Veil. I don't know why, but in pan, this looks kind of green to me. But I feel like when I put it on my eye, it looks kind of pink. I still like how it looks. You'll have to let me know. I feel like what you see might also be green. I don't really know. Like, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. Like, when I look on camera, I think it looks pink. But just even that, I mean, look how freaking... That's just really freaking pretty. Here is the finished look. I really love how this one came out. It's seriously so pretty. I'm so happy that we got to finally play with the Drops of Fantasy palette. So far, loving, if you could not tell by the video. And I'm happy that we got to create another look with this. Let's go ahead and create our next look. So for this last look, I really wanted to do something purple. As you can see, the palette that I'm pulling for our match is Serenity by Cosmic Beauty. I have this currently like in my project of trying to use up some of my makeup and stuff, so if you're interested in that kind of vibe, please check out like my shorts tab. I do have 2 previous videos going through like my makeup collection, and I'm basically just going through every single palette in a row. I have already used this one, but I did have it on my desk, and I wanted to use it again, and I'm really happy that I did. So, what are we going to start off with? I'm looking for an angled brush. Here we go. Angled brush. I'm going to take what I assume is a black shade in this bottom corner. I cannot read the name because it is dirty. Love that for me. And I'm going to start by taking this shade all the way underneath my lash line. And then where I'm going to stop it is where this colored part of my eye is. Or like ends and starts with the white. Continuing with our shape, I'm just going to follow that line and wing it out. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a slightly longer kind of pencil type brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and I want to fill in my outer corner, starting where this darker colored part of my eye is, deciding how far up I want to go, and creating kind of my shape, and then I'm just going to fill it in. Next, I'm going to dip in with this shade, which feels like a blue. It's called River. I'm going to wipe off that same angled brush, and I'm going to start by one. I want to just extend this inner part just a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of just line underneath the eye with that shade. Switching to the top, I'm just going to take that same shade throughout my crease and stop where that colored part of our eye is, and then I will take it just around the shape, starting to blend out this dark black shade. Now, one thing I do want to do is I'm going to do my best to kind of stare straight ahead to see how high I want to take this shade, and at least for me, I feel like a lot of times I will do this because I feel like it kind of shapes the eye a bit. Like I had this side was a little too low, so I had to kind of pop it up, and I'm hoping I won't have to do that on this side. And now for the star of our show, I'm gonna take the shade Pixie. The shade is seriously so pretty. I'm picking up a pencil brush, and I'm going to again extend that wing like inwards. And I might just have to do part of this off camera because it's kind of difficult. I'm going to kind of just very carefully start to layer this purple and start to blend it in with that blue and black shade. Switching to the top, I'm just going to do the same thing and taking it all around the rest of the shape. And then we will be using one more color, so don't worry if things are not looking too blended. We will get there. And for our last shade, I'll take Make-A-Wish, and I'm really just going to be using this to soften any of the harsh edges out, to make everything look a bit more smooth. I'm going to show you a trick for the under eye because she might be getting a little crazy. So, under eye, I don't know if you can see, it's getting a little muddy. Compared to this side, totally okay. Totally happens. So, this is a brush that I use for, like, my concealer. And I'm just going to start by just tapping along. I'm having a little bit of fallout issues, but hopefully if we continue, it should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my foundation brush and start doing the same thing. And what this should hopefully do is any of like residual product that was on the brush should transfer and help everything to soften out a bit more. And if all else fails, I just actually took a teeny bit more of my foundation just to further make sure everything looks nice and soft, because holy fallout, sometimes it just happens. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of a fluffier brush for the top just to really help to further soften everything out. Now for our glitter primer. So I was actually reading a little bit on, well, I was like reading the card that came with it, and I'm just trying this out today because I want to make sure that I'm following directions the best I can. So I'm just taking a very light amount of the glue. I'm going to go ahead and tap it in, and then we're going to wait at least a minute to make sure that it is nice and set and tacky for the shimmers. Alright, everything is feeling nice and tacky, so I'm really excited to see, like, if the wear time will be different for this. They have been wearing perfectly fine, don't get me wrong, but when I realized that I kind of read the instructions incorrectly, like, I was like, hey, let's just try it out just to see if it works even better. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Violet Sovereign. I've been loving to use these, like, deeper tones. I'm just picking up with a brush, and then I'm just gonna go in with a finger just to make sure it's even more pigmented. I feel like I will always, like, I know that the brush method does exist, but I feel like I will always just prefer the finger method. For one, it's easier, but for two, it gives you the maximum pigmentation. Like, if you don't want a lot of pigmentation, then I would definitely use a brush, but, like, I always want the maximum pigmentation, so we'll go in with finger. Okay. Cobalt Dynasty is next, and just placing that in the center. I really love how this look was honestly not really planned, but like I wanted to just do purple last night. It was kind of my vibe, and it really is working out so well. I'm just like enjoying it so freaking much. And then our last shade is going to be Crimson Legacy. Let's pop in that to the inner part of the eye. Like, so pretty. Here is the completed third look. Love it so much. Seriously, so sparkly, so pretty. I'm really loving it. So to kind of just transition into giving you my final thoughts of this palette, if you cannot tell, I absolutely love it. I really do recommend it. Dede Signature is becoming one of my top favorite brands. They are just so good, and I really am impressed with this palette. To be honest, I'm not a big, like, it's weird, I love shimmers, shimmers, but I'm never like a big fan of an all shimmer palette. But I really am enjoying this, especially with this journey that I'm on with using like the different palettes in my collection. I really am enjoying having an all shimmer palette, especially one of like really good quality, to be able to transition out like with this palette like I did today, some of the shades and like use different shimmers or whatever. And I feel like it really just helps to kind of reinvent your makeup. And I just think it is super freaking cool. So I really do hope that this video was helpful. I hope it gave you some inspiration if you were tempted to pick up this palette or even just have some inspiration to use stuff from your collection. So let me know down below what you do think. And I hope you're having a great rest of your day, and I will see you on my next one. Okay, bye.